It's early morning in Kathmandu, the capital of Nepal, a small country sandwiched between India and China. Dr. Shankar Rai is on his way to work. He's got a lot to do. Patients to see, operations to perform, doctors to train. A lot of people depend on Dr. Rai. His waiting room is already full. The doctor's a plastic surgeon, specializing in cleft palates and burns. He's well known in Nepal and internationally for helping poor people and charging them nothing. Without Dr. Rai, many of these people would have no health care at all.
And then the parents told they are mistreating her in the village. She cannot go to school. Everybody hates her. And then she started crying. No. Yeah, we operated, and then it was reported in the journal. And so.
Dr. Rai is on his way again, this time to a new hospital, one Jim Weber helped him build.
He was operating out of a pretty old, antiquated hospital. His initial exam room was an office with books and magazines spread around, and he'd bring kids in and look at their burns or their cleft lips.
Weber, who manufactures Tibetan rugs in Kathmandu, runs a charitable organization dedicated to getting the hospital up and running. He considers Nepal his spiritual home and wanted to give something back to the country. So far, he's raised over $500,000.
We hatched this idea back in 2002 to build him and his team a physical facility to operate out of.
It's called the Nepal Cleft and Burn Center, and it's not yet officially open. But patients can't wait, so the burn ward is up and running. Dr. Rai works with a team, 9 surgeons with different specialties and a staff of 50. The equipment and surgical gowns were provided by Weber's nonprofit organization, also called the Nepal Cleft and Burn Center.
We've shipped to date 6 40-foot containers full of medical equipment to Nepal, for which we pay less than 10 cents on the dollar.
Weber has also teamed up with another charity, Research International, to cover the costs to the patients.
They don't have to buy the medications, they don't have to pay for the bed, they don't have to pay for the surgery. But if this surgery has to be done in a private hospital, it would cost them a fortune.
The beds in the burn ward are filled with patients from all over the country. It took days for some of them to get here, walking on trails, riding on buses over dirt roads.
While she was only 2 months old, her mother was holding her to make a warm in front of the fire, and she kind of slipped from the hands of the mother onto the fireplace. But she needs many more operations in the future.
One patient has frostbite, another was electrocuted. This little artist was burned when she fell into a vat of hot oil.
She's looked herself at the mirror and she's very happy now.
Every week, Dr. Rai tries to visit a clinic outside of Kathmandu. Today, he's on his way to one in Pokhara, Nepal's second largest city. Along the way, he stops to check up on patients.
So many burn injuries, so many, one after the other, one after the other.
Every year, more than 56,000 people are badly burned in Nepal, and more than 2,400 die from their injuries, a rate 100 times higher than in the United States.
As a young child, they see the food being prepared in the fireplace. So when they get hungry, they just walk onto the fireplace because that's where they were served.
Most people in Nepal have open fires in their homes for light, for heat, for cooking. Many live on small farms in the mountains, the Himalayas, places without roads or electricity, a long way from doctors and hospitals. Often when people get burned, they recover on their own, sometimes living with gross deformities, or they die. On the road again, heading for another house call. This girl was practicing Taekwondo and kicked a kerosene lamp off the wall, burning her neck and shoulders.
She says after the operation, she has a more dignified life, and she thinks that the doctor is just like a god. Yeah.
Dr. Rai is assisting Dr. Kiran in closing a cleft lip on a 10-month-old baby girl. In this culture, there's a stigma that comes with a cleft lip. Often the blame for the deformity is placed on the mother.
We have many incidences where Once the child is born cleft, the father had left the family, never to be seen again.
It's a relatively simple and inexpensive operation, requiring only a few tools, and the results make a dramatic difference in a child's life. Dr. Rai was Dr. Kiran's teacher in medical school.
Dr. Rai is very different because he went to US and he came back to Nepal. He could have stayed there and earned a lot of money.
Dr. Rai is a true humanitarian.
Dr. David Dingman, a plastic surgeon, was the chief medical officer for Research International. Research was looking for doctors in third world countries to help support. That's when he met Dr. Rai.
He was my first choice. I knew he had the skill, he had the passion, he was impeccably honest, he was curious. He had all the makings of a great surgeon and entrepreneur.
These skills will come in handy. The hope for the new hospital is that it will be run by and for the citizens of Nepal.
That's our goal, is for this facility to be operated and staffed by Nepali physicians to help the poor of Nepal.
Dr. Rai comes from a small village, Makpa, about 60 miles south of Mount Everest. When he was a child, there was no road to the village, and it took 10 days to walk to Kathmandu.
We had a lot of faith healers, the shamans in the villages who used to treat sick people. One thing was very interesting with them. They never charged anything to people. They were offered, whatever food that was available in the house, and that was it. There was no fee. That is very profound, I think.
Are you happy with the sign after all that?
I'm happy, except the lines are a little too close together, but it looks great.
The scaffolding is gone and invited guests are gathering for the hospital opening, and Dr. Rai wants to make everything go smoothly. It took 12 years of hard work, but now the Nepal Cleft and Burn Center is officially open.
We now have a 16,000 square foot, 4-story, state-of-the-art by Nepali standards hospital that he can operate. The entire top floor, 4,000 square feet, is totally dedicated to burns.
But the hospital needs continual support. Many of the rooms are still empty, waiting for equipment and beds, more doctors and nurses. The Nepal Cleft and Burn Center needs your donations.
96.5% of the money we collect goes to the project. We have no overhead.
The money you give will relieve the pain and suffering of so many people.
The one thing I can promise people who support this organization is your money will be used carefully and thoughtfully and ethically, and we make a dollar bill scream.
Donations can be made by going to www.nepalcleftandburncenter.org.